Star Wars is directed by George Lucas and stars Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher and Alec Guinness. This is the story of Luke Skywalker, a young moisture farmer from the planet of Tatooine who dreams of being a rebel against the Empire, until he is joined by two droids called C-3PO and R2-D2 who lead them to an old Jedi Knight called Old Ben Kenobi, and they go on an adventure together joined by Chewbacca the Wookiee and also a very extremely cocky pilot played by Harrison Ford called Han Solo. And together they all go down as a rebel alliance to take down the Death Star and destroy the Empire. I really don't need to tell you much in this review to try and convince you about how good this movie is, because you already know. You've already seen this movie countless times. This is a phenomenal film and one of the biggest landmarks in the history of film. This is one of the best movies ever made. It is a true spectacle of special effects, and the way when it all comes together is incredible, especially when you look at the fact that this movie came out in 1977 and it still holds up today, at least in my eyes. Star Wars marks the first time we ever saw our favourite hero, Luke Skywalker. Mark Hamill is amazing as Luke Skywalker. He is so likeable and also so vulnerable that you just want to get behind the guy. You really like him and you really want to just go on this journey with him, because he's someone who's always been held back in his life. He's always dreamt of being a rebel against the Empire, but now he finally has the chance, and you find out that perhaps he has more links to the history of the Empire than it may first seem. Also, I'd like to speak about Han Solo, played by Harrison Ford. Han Solo is my favourite Star Wars character. I absolutely love him. He is just so cool and charismatic. He's got such an awesome swagger about him. And you can tell that perhaps he's not the best of people, as you find out he owes money to a mysterious person or creature known as Jabba the Hutt. And you can tell that the fact he may not be the best of people you could possibly find. However, he's just so cool that you just want to share the screen with him and you want to be with him. Another special mention goes to the droids of C-3PO and R2-D2. C-3PO is actually another one of my favourite Star Wars characters. I always loved him when I was younger, and I still love him now. I think he's very funny. I love his banter with R2-D2. I think he's a really entertaining character, and he is definitely one perhaps for the younger kids, but he's definitely someone that I just think anybody will love, and he's just so, I think lovable is the right word here, and anybody can just look at this character and just instantly gravitate towards him because he's just such a warm presence. Also, this movie introduced the most famous and most iconic villain in film history, that being Darth Vader. Darth Vader is not in this movie too much, but when you see him, you are constantly intrigued by him. You are absolutely stunned by his mysterious breathing and his amazingly black and dark suit, and the fact that he carries a red lightsaber shows the fact that he is evil and he is out to do no good, and you just want to find out more about him because he is so cool. I love how, as the first Star Wars movie, this truly hints at how expansive this universe is and could be. We only really stick to one planet in this film, that being Tatooine, but you really see how we have different areas of Tatooine. You have the farming areas where we find Luke Skywalker, and you also have the inhabitants there, such as the Sand People and the Jawas, and we see the massive sand crawlers. And then we also expand out to Mos Eisley Spaceport, where we meet Han Solo and Chewbacca. These are just really cool ideas that play with the expansion of the universe. Also, we saw the Death Star for the first time, and then the Death Star has been done again and again. It is so cool when you see it the first time. We have this amazing planet-sized spaceship, which basically houses the entire Empire, and it is the most powerful weapon in the galaxy. It can destroy planets, and you can see it destroy a planet in this movie, which I'll get to in a second. But oh my god, the sheer power is immense behind this thing, and it is so awesome to watch. Speaking of it destroying planets, you get to see the planet of Alderaan, which is Princess Leia's home planet, get completely destroyed and obliterated in this film. It's genocide at the highest level, and you get to see it just blow up. And this links into all the special effects in this film, which for 1977 were top of their game. And it still blows my mind today when I watch this film, and I put myself into the mindset that this film came out a long time ago, and you think, wow, this was top tier stuff. Also, the character confrontations are so interesting in this film, especially when you look at characters between Luke Skywalker and ObiWan Kenobi, or Old Ben Kenobi. We get to see how, Old Ben Kenobi, he knows about Luke, and he knows about his father, who we hear a lot about in this film, and you're just thinking to yourself, wow, who is this guy? Where does he come from? What's his story? And of course, you find that out as the movies go on, and you find that out in the prequels. but he is just such a cool character, and the way that he is hinting at all these things is amazing. Then we have the lightsaber fight between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader, and this is such a cool fight because although it may be slow to us now, back then this would have been absolutely mind-blowing, and it still is to this day in my opinion. And also the words and dialogue is so intense here, as it adds so much depth to not just Obi-Wan but Darth Vader as well, as you find out that Darth Vader was actually an apprentice of Obi-Wan Kenobi who went rogue and turned to the Empire, and it is just such a cool scene. Then we have that final action scene where the Rebel Alliance gets inside their X-Wings and their Y-Wings while being pursued by TIE fighters and Darth Vader himself inside of his TIE Interceptor, and we get to see them destroy the Death Star. The special effect of the Death Star blowing up is amazing, and this space battle that's going on is mesmerizing. It is so capsulating that you can't help but just revel in it, and that trench run at the end is so intense, it actually makes your palms sweat. It is that intense. It's amazing stuff. On the whole, Star Wars, like I said at the start of the video, is one of the best and most iconic films of all time. Without Star Wars, films wouldn't be what they are today, and the fact that this one film started this huge phenomenon which became a huge part of people's lives and still exists inside today's society is such a credit to the creators of the film. And even though, say what you want about George Lucas, without his vision and without his ideas, we wouldn't have Star Wars and we wouldn't have the films that we have today. I give Star Wars an A+.